Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7, The Heat.
What's our headline?
I can't hear it.
Me.
Hello? All right. We live? Oh. Okay.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7, The Heat.
All right. We are here. Good evening. I'm Calvin Lester, Stephen Jackson. It is Thursday, and we are very excited about being here this evening. We want to thank you for your time and your attention. And we are very thankful that we have this platform for us to talk to you about those things that matter and the way that we talk about them. And, of course, we thank Johnny Antoine for providing us this very important forum for us to discuss these things, because we don't have we have precious few opportunities to have an intelligent conversation about the things that matter. And we do that here, and we thank Johnny for providing us this platform. And so, Johnny, thank you for being so community-minded and giving us this opportunity. And we ready to rock and roll. How you doing, Stephen?
Man, I'm good. I'm great. What we got for our headlines?
Well, one of the things that I saw was the Shreveport Police Academy and Shreveport Fire Academy is going to be undergoing some improvements. Citizens voted for a bond issue, and as I appreciate it, part and parcel of those resources are supposed to be dedicated to making some repairs at the police department, which are Police and Fire Academy, that basically dates back to the 1970s. So maybe we can train those folks a little better in a better environment and continue to get a great product, because the men and women who come out of the fire department and police department are on the first lines. And so hopefully these resources be used to give them a better training facility. What else you got?
Some good news on those who will be traveling. I think this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, usually is the kickoff of summer, usually the kickoff of travel season. And so Louisiana residents can now use Louisiana Wallet at TSA checkpoints in New Orleans and 26 other airports. Today, it was announced that going through TSA security at some airports in the United States just got a little easier for Louisiana residents. With the Louisiana Wallet app, the TSA, Transportation Security Administration, is expanding its digital ID acceptance program and is allowing Louisiana-issued mobile driver's license to be used at checkpoints with digital ID readers nationwide, according to a press release from Louisiana Office of Motor Vehicles. Those checkpoints will be available for right now only at the New Orleans Louis Armstrong Airport, along with 26 other airports throughout the country. Currently, travelers are still asked to carry their physical IDs with them. Even if they have the digital ID available, if TSA readers are unable to confirm your identity, then you can still present your physical ID. The other airports on the list are the Thurgood Marshall Airport in Baltimore, Maryland, Chicago O'Hare, Cincinnati, DFW, Denver, Des Moines, Detroit, if you're going to Gulfport, Harry Reid in Las Vegas, Hartsville, Atlanta, my favorite airport, Hartsville, Atlanta Airport, Honolulu, Hawaii, Medgar Evers in Jackson, Mississippi, LaGuardia, and the list kind of goes on. I just wanted to highlight some of the more familiar places. Ronald Reagan, a lot of people fly into Reagan, Phoenix. So I think that's a good thing, particularly for those of us who lose their wallets all the time, like me. I'm trying to ditch my wallet. I finally put my debit and credit cards on my phone, and so when I get to somewhere and I realize I don't have it in my pocket, my wallet in my pocket, which is just convenient, I just tap the scanner at the store.
Right.
What I find interesting is Walmart doesn't have it. I don't know how the world's largest retailer, or one of the world's largest retailers, let me say that, doesn't have the tap to pay app, or tap to pay feature. So
that's probably a reason why.
Right. We're gonna figure it out, but I'm sure it's not just a coincidence that they don't have it. So, but yeah, if you're traveling this summer, in select airports, do not come to Shreveport Regional. Of course, I did ask our Shreveport folks, and I think they're saying that they're trying to be prepared by sometime in July, August. So don't quote me on that. That's just a tentative timeline. But that's good news on the travel front. What else you got?
Well, congratulations go to Mr. Orville Hall, who was appointed, and I think his title is Growth Advisor for G Unit Studios. Mr. Curtis Jackson and 50 Cent, for those of you who know his stage moniker, put out a press release today that says that Mr. Orville Hall will be the growth advisor for G Unit Studios, and in that position, what he's going to do is, I guess, liaise with some of the governmental entities and be concerned with growing the brand, growing the studio. Many of you will know that Mr. Hall has been in and around Shreveport for a number of years. He's not someone that's unfamiliar to folks in elective office and people just in town. And so congratulations to Orville Hall on his new assignment with G Unit Studios, and prayerfully they can work together to bring more productions to the area and bring some life to our film industry. That has the potential to be a really good thing.
Staying on, we've been talking about reapportionment, redistricting. We've been talking about that a lot. We've been talking about our congressional maps. It went unnoticed. I don't know if it's because we're headed into a long holiday. But a case that has implications in Louisiana, the Supreme Court allowed the state of South Carolina to keep a congressional map. The Supreme Court today preserved a Republican-held South Carolina congressional district. It rejected a lower court's ruling that said the district discriminated against black voters. The court's conservative majority said in a 6-3 decision that the Republican-controlled state legislature did nothing wrong during its redistricting when it strengthened Representative Nancy Mace's hold on a coastal district by moving 30,000 Democratic-leaning black residents of Charleston out of the district. In the dissent, the liberal justices, I hate using that, in the dissent, the Supreme Court, the dissenting Supreme Court justice, I don't believe in classifying our Supreme Court justice as liberal or conservative. I hate when the paper does that. But in its dissent, the dissenting justices said that the ruling would impede racial gerrymandering cases generally. So that's going to be one to watch. Obviously, Louisiana just last week got a stay from the Supreme Court to a lower courts panel. So the top court's decision means Louisiana will continue to move forward this fall based on the new map that was drawn. But all eyes are pouring over this recent decision to see what, if any, implications it may have on Louisiana's map, because Louisiana map still has to be, the merits still have to be litigated. So we're not out of the waters on it yet. Yep.
Well, that whole situation bears conversation, and I don't know if we're going to get into it right now since we're just doing headlines, but it's something that's worth talking about. So
we're going to have to revisit it, and we're going to keep revisiting this issue about our reapportionment. Also need to talk about the judicial reapportionment. Right. We need to talk about legislative reapportionment, school board reapportionment. We need to talk about it all the way across the board because representation matters.
It does, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So This is Issues That Matter, 97.7 The Heat. We're going to take a really quick break. And after the break, we're going to talk about some topics that are maybe some rapid fire, hit them and quit them. And if you want to call in, please give us a call. That number is 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459. If you've got a burning issue that you'd like to get before the body, we will entertain that when we get back from the break. This is Issues That Matter, 97.7 The Heat. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. Stick with us.
When I think about those nights in Montreal, I get the sweetest thoughts of you and me. Memories of love above the city lights. I tried so hard to take it, but alone my heart won't make it. I just wanna stop and tell you what I feel about you, babe. I just wanna stop. I never wanna live without you, babe. I just wanna stop for your When I think about the way the world must turn, get the saddest thoughts for you and me. Memories of life and times go on and on. I've tried hard to forget it, but alone my mind won't let it. I just wanna stop and tell you what I feel about you, babe. I just wanna stop. The world ain't right without you, babe. I just wanna stop for your I tried so hard to take it, but alone my heart won't make it. I just wanna stop and tell you what I feel about you, babe. I just wanna stop. The world ain't right without you, babe. I just wanna stop for your
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. Thank you for your kind attention. Of course, that was the musical stylings of the one and only Angela Bofield. And you might not, well, no, this audience knows who that is, Johnny. They know who Angela Bofield is. If they don't, go ask your mama. Your mama tell you who Angela Bofield is. Great singer, great singer, great singer. So listen, this is 97.7 Heat WKSH. If you want to participate in the conversation, there are several ways you can do it. Give us a call. Our number is 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459. Or if you're watching on Beyonce's internet, please put something in the chat on Facebook, on social media, on Facebook or YouTube. Give us a comment. Also, we would really appreciate it, really appreciate it if when you see 97.7 The Heat across your social media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether you see Issues That Matter 97.7 The Heat on Instagram or Facebook, please like us, share it, because we want to grow the channel in a digital space, because, you know, we want to get this information out to as many people as possible, Johnny. So that's one of the things that we need to do. I'm a little concerned, and I want to talk about this. Two things that work together. I'm gonna link them. Many people were justifiably outraged, I see, on social media, because one of our local state senators, I believe his name is Thomas Presley, filed a bill to change the classification of a drug called mifepristone. Mifepristone is one of those drugs that is very essential to women's reproductive health. It is used to deal with some pregnancy issues. It is often given to women when they have miscarriages and things of that nature. It's a drug that also is part of it can be part of the process of doing what's called medical abortions. But it is a drug that is needed, that is widely used across the country, from the east to the west, from the north to the south. And the drug itself is not illegal. Let me say this again. The drug itself is not illegal. It is regulated, excuse me, like most medicines are. It's not a drug, it's a medicine. And so Senator Presley decided to try to move forward with some legislation to reclassify this medicine as a controlled dangerous substance, such that if you are found in possession of this medicine, you could go to jail. If you are a husband picking up your wife's legally legitimate prescription for this medication, you could be held to account and be arrested. If the woman is in possession of a legally prescribed medical medicine, she could be, arrested. It's a ham-fisted way to try to get rid of this drug, because there are a group of people that are anti-abortion, even though the law allows it in certain instances. They don't want any of that in their state, and they are willing to use the law to legislate in that direction. Which begs the question, many of you that are paying attention, you see where a law happens in Texas or a law happens in Georgia, and then months later, that law shows up in Louisiana. And I know you're thinking, wow, I heard that on the news last week. Or wow, they were talking about that in the national news 3 or 4 months ago or 6 months ago in a whole nother state. You mean to tell me the guys in Louisiana are so diligent that they decided to legislate in that direction? The answer to that is no. There is an organization called ALEC, A-L-E-C, which is an acronym for the American Legislative Exchange Council, the American Legislative Exchange Council. And what this group does is they have a group of lawyers and policy wonks sitting in a room, and they are churning out model legislation that is usually sent to conservative state representatives and state senators from across the country, and they adopt this legislation to try to change this country and move in a direction that they choose. If you remember, for the longest, the Republicans were against the federal government telling them anything, what to do. Oh, we're states. We believe in states' rights. Well, because more often than not, they did not control the federal judges. They did not control Congress. They did not control the Senate. And so their deal was, okay, well, we're going to get what we want by outlawing it state by state, city by city. Well, a lot of those folks that are passing the laws are not trained attorneys. They're not. And so what happens is there's a group of attorneys that's sitting, and I want to say Alec is somewhere in Virginia, and they come up with these ideas. They write the laws and they give them. They literally email them to state representatives all over the country, and they use these model bills to change the law and move in a direction. Many of you will recall in, let's say, during the whole deal with Trayvon Martin, Florida had this offensive stand your ground law, and it was a brand new deal. And everybody's like, where does this come from? Well, Alec and the Koch brothers decided that they're supporting the National Rifle Association. So they start writing these laws and passing them to these different areas. And when they pass the law, or they give the laws to the representatives in Florida, they hurry up and pass the bill. Oh, this is so important. And you get bad law, and you get bad law going from area to area. So that's how you had the situation in Florida. You had a George Floyd in Minnesota, because there's this one group that creates these bad, horrendous, anti-progressive, very conservative laws, and they're giving the folks to free. And what we have to do is, one, we have to equip our legislators with laws that are going to go against that. The thing that's funny to me, and you don't have to speak on this, but I have seen many times when I'm watching these state representatives who are not lawyers, that are not trained in the law, they try to pass a particular piece of legislation, and a lawyer asks them a question, and they like, I don't know. Like, wait a minute. You came up with this idea to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you can't even explain it? Well, no, they can't, because generally they don't have to, because it's more of them than it is of us, and then they just run with it, and bad things happen. So we need to really pay attention, because this thing goes a lot deeper than just, who's sitting where. That's part of it, but there's a layer that goes beneath it. And so I'm always on guard, shall I say, when I see these bad pieces of legislation and these very restrictive, super conservative ideas from New York that find themselves, in the Louisiana legislature being argued by someone who's not a lawyer, who's not an expert, who's not in that particular area. That's not what they do every day, but they decide to bring the bill. So I just think it's interesting. I don't want to put you on the record, because those are some of your colleagues, sir, but
we do some wild stuff.
it's pretty interesting.
We do some wild stuff, man. Have you talked about the bill where they wanted to give the casinos? I'm
walking my way. I'm walking toward
the
that.
money. Did you talk about the bill where the lawyer?
I'm walking toward that.
The Shreveport lawyer filed a bill to allow legislators to do continuances.
So let's talk
even
about
after they have been called out for abusing that process.
So let's talk about that. One of the things,
talking about the legislators who file bills that benefit themselves.
So one of the things that seems rather interesting to me, when you are on a legislative body, whether it's in the state level, certainly at the state level, but on the local level, when you as an African American attempt to solve a problem that is brought to you from your constituents, you have to legislate. That's the job. Somebody has a problem, I write a law that's going to fix the problem. We pass it, we keep moving. Well, more often than not, when we have those issues that are brought to us, we're solving a problem for a constituent. That's the end of it. What's interesting to me is usually if the problem that we're trying to solve is of an economic nature, if we're trying to do economic development for the area, if we're trying to bring housing to the area, if we're trying to lift the standard of our people, more often than not, the default setting is you must have some interest in it. Well, of course, the interest that I have is making my area better. No. You know, your cousin must be part of this, or you must be benefiting from this financially.
That's
No.
illegal. You know that, right?
It's illegal, it's immoral, it's unethical, and if
They
we have
shown
learned
that they will
anything,
take black people to jail.
African American elected officials from Caddo Parish have a enormous propensity to go to jail. We have shown that.
If they do that.
If it is seen that you are doing something close to that, you are investigated, and if you are found to be guilty, you will go to jail. Whether you've been on the council, whether you've been on the parish commission, whether you've been in anything, school board, they will bring the full weight of the state, the local, or the federal government down on you if you do something and you benefit from it. That is crystal clear. Now, some of your white colleagues do some of the same things. They've never had a moment of consequence, but we've shown that for us, we go to jail. So many of us take the perspective, unfortunately, because I don't want those kinds of problems. I don't want people asking questions. I don't do that, which is unfortunate because our people need economic development in their areas, right? Economic development is not something that's solely the province of white Republicans or whatnot. We need economic development in our area, and we go to school too. We get certificates for economic development. We go to the same classes. We need to legislate in that area. Unfortunately, when we attempt to do that, the first thing they assume is you're doing something dirty. Well, there were some instances in the Louisiana legislature this session,
Today.
as recently as today,
A few hours ago.
So, first of all, let's talk about the deal that Senator Seabaugh was doing. For those that don't know, State Senator Alan Seabaugh was a former state representative. He was promoted, for lack of a better term, from the lower house to the upper house. He is a lawyer by training.
From a district that runs from Bienville all the way down to Alexandria somewhere.
Right.
From a district that I think Bienville, it goes all the way somewhere up into the rural.
Well, I mean, Caddo
Webster
Parish. Come on, back to the
Right,
he
well-
literally goes from almost the state line to the other side.
to Alexandria
Right,
somewhere.
right.
But they talking about Cleo's.
Right.
district.
I mean, I think-
Swoosh.
Yeah, I think he probably has geographically the longest district
Right.
in the state of Louisiana
I
from
mean,
the
it
Senate
looked kind of
Central.
like the congressional district, but you know.
The congressional district that he's opposed to,
Right.
of course. That was, he was before it, before he was against it.
Right.
But Senator Seabaugh is a lawyer, and he practices civil law, more particularly insurance defense.
Right.
Okay?
Allstate is a big client.
Right.
Not State Farm.
Well,
Not Allstate, State.
some of the insurance companies. So when you're in an accident, there's a personal injury lawyer that represents you. There are lawyers that represent the insurance company, and their job is to try not to pay you. Even though the other person has hurt you, they try everything they can not to pay you. They try to not give you the settlement that you deserve. They try to elongate the process. Well, as a state representative or state senator, a member of the legislature, just like if you are in the United States service, active duty, if your case comes up when you're on active duty, everything stops. We're not going to proceed against you if you are in the military. At the same time, if you are a member of the legislature, while the legislature is in session, while you're doing your official duties, we don't allow the case to move forward. So generally from March, the early March to June, March, April, May, June, for 4 months out of the year, your case stops. Well, apparently there have been complaints from trial lawyers and other folks that certain members of the legislature have used this process to stop lawsuits from moving forward, rather than to answer litigation, rather than to file an answer, rather than to file interrogatories, to help people who have been hurt or harmed get a resolution to their case. Those members of the legislature who represent insurance companies, they just kind of tie the case up in knots. So, nothing can happen for these 4 months. And, you can say, well, the legislature ain't in session, but guess what? I had a meeting in Baton Rouge I had to go to. That's considered, official state business. And I'm sure they have a meeting every other time. So I can get a continuance. And so imagine if you are someone that has been injured and you've had to go to file a lawsuit, you want to get your claim adjudicated before a judge, but they're stopping the process. Well, people complained about it. And so one of the things that you can do, if you feel like the other lawyer is dragging his or her feet, you can file a motion to make them speed up, for lack of a better term. I can't remember what the name of the motion is. Well, Senator Seabaugh passed a law today that if a legislator is on official business and has stopped the case, if you and he files a motion to continue, and generally when the legislator files a motion for continuance for the case, is granted per se. If you oppose the motion for continuance, the judge can not only continue the case, which basically strips you of your ability to have your case heard, the lawyer, i.e. the member of the legislature, can get attorney's fees. So not only are they prevented from you making them do their job, you have to pay them for filing the lawsuit against them for making them do their job. They can get attorney's fees. And attorney's fees, that they can say whatever the cost is. Oh, my fee is $500 an hour. And you literally have a scenario where someone can benefit from legislation that they passed. I would dare say and there are and I'm not going to call them by name, but there are a number of African-American legislators in the Senate and in the House of Representatives that are lawyers. And I can guarantee you, if any one of those brothers or sisters was to file that bill, you would hear from the state Supreme Court. You would probably hear from the Bar Association. There would be gnashing of teeth. The ethics people would be, 10 sheets in the wind. How dare you do that? You can't be down there fattening your pocket. You already have the advantage of stopping the case. But now if someone objects to you stopping the case, you going to get paid yourself? It's kind of interesting. But these are the people who, like to get in your face and talk about they're for good government, right? But they're doing their own thing. Secondly, we've mentioned Senator Thomas Presley earlier today. Senator Presley advanced a bill today through the legislature that will allow the casino industry to give contributions in political races. Now, let's stop for a second. That was an entire criminal lawsuit involving a whole lot of people when the Louisiana casinos came to town. And one of the things that the legislature did, which I think was smart, was to say, you know what? We're not going to allow those businesses to donate to political campaigns. The casinos were upset about it, but they got over it because at the end of the day, they get to operate in the state. But imagine what it would be like if casinos who literally print money can give whatever to political candidates, right? I mean, that can be a pretty bad situation. And the people who were the most dead set against the casinos contributing and the casinos even coming to town are more often than not were conservatives, Republicans from North Louisiana, Shreveport specifically. Some of those same people who today push for the allowing the casinos to give money to political campaigns were the ones that were, number one, they were against the casinos in the first place. That's number one. Number two, they were against the casinos participating in the elective process, even though, I mean, I don't agree with it, but the Supreme Court has now said that political speech is protected and giving money is political speech. So, and I can't remember the name of the case, it escapes me right now, but that allows corporations to give unlimited resources, And so now the casinos are saying, well, hey, we want to get part of that. Now, what's interesting is after the casinos have been in the state for 30 years, now all of a sudden the casinos want to get involved in the political process, and they're asking to get involved in a political process to give money to the legislature at the same time, Johnny, that we're now talking about doing a constitutional convention. So does that mean that the legislature there's some plan to expand gaming? Is there some now going to say, okay, instead of having 5 casinos, we're going to let everybody who wants to have a casino have a license? Of course, that wouldn't hurt my feelings, because if you want to invest your money in a business that's legitimate and legal in the state of Louisiana, you want to make your money, go for it. I don't think we should stop people from doing illegal business. I think what contributed to some of the bad stuff was the fact that instead of letting the marketplace decide how many casinos will be successful, we arbitrarily put a number on it, which drove the value of that license through the roof. And so now, I don't know, but I just think it's interesting that the so-called Christian conservative, the so-called morality police, the people who are really aggressive about legislating a woman's uterus, are deciding that they want to let people do whatever they want to as it relates to money in some industries, but they have a real question and concern about the other. So we'll see about that. So more to come. We're going to take a really quick break, play a little music, and come back with a few things on the other side. We hope that this is a conversation that is impactful to you. We hope that you're getting something out of it. And we love to hear from you. Again, our number is 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459. This is Issues That Matter. We'll be right back after the break.
Turn off the lights, light a candle. Tonight I'm in a romantic mood, yeah. Let's take a shower together. I'll wash your body, you wash mine, yeah. Rub me down in some hot oils, baby, yeah. And I'll do the same thing to you. Just turn off the lights, come to me. Girl, I wanna give you a special treat. You're so sweet. Turn off the lights and let's get cozy. See, you're the only one in the world that I need. I wanna love you all over. Yeah. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Whisper sweet words of love in your ear. Show you how much I miss you, my dear. Turn 'em off. Come to me. Tonight I'm in a sexy mood. Ooh, baby. Light a candle. Girl, there's something that I want to do to you. I want to do to you, baby. Would you mind if I asked you to? Would you rub me down? Would you rub me down in some burning hot oils, baby? Yeah. I swear I've been doing the same thing to you, baby. Turn 'em off. And let's get cozy. I wanna give you a special treat. You've been so sweet. Turn 'em on. Come closer. You're the only one in this whole wide world that I ever need. Turn 'em on. And light a candle. You see, there's something I wanna do to you, baby. I'm lying here waiting, my dear. You can get what you want anytime you want it. I'm lying here waiting, my dear. Come get what you need. Give me what I need. There's something tell me what you wanna do, baby. There's something I wanna do to you, baby. Yeah. Yes. I got something in my mind. Something that I've been wanting to do all the time. Yeah. Yes. I wanna give you a special treat. 'Cause you've been so sweet. Yeah. Yes. Anything that you want, anything that you need, I got it. I got it. I can do it. I'm willing. Whenever you want.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we're back. We thank you for your kind attention on this Thursday, which is coming into a 4-day weekend, 3-day, 4-day weekend, if you want to call it. We've got Memorial Day that's coming up to give some thought to those folks that have served and are no longer with us. So we thank them for their service, and as I appreciate it. And I normally have my good friend Dr. August Malvo on, but Memorial Day was a holiday that was started by the slaves after the Civil War to commemorate the Union soldiers that fought for their freedom.
What you say?
Yeah. So, as with many things, we start a lot of stuff that we don't get credit for, and people get kind of forgetful.
say.
Yeah. So that's Memorial Day. So you remember
don't
that?
find that in the textbook. No. more.
No. And if it was in a textbook, they would hurry up and erase it. So that's that. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but I want to hit it again because I think it bears conversation. You know, there's been a lot of conversation in the media about this whole apartment complex.
Oh Lord, why you do that?
I had to.
Why they don't call in when I'm here? Why people don't call when I'm here? Y'all
Well-
don't want to.
So maybe somebody's gonna call and express themselves, but this thing is multi-layered. What I'm gonna say is this,
Multi-layered recklessness.
and there needs to be some public policy that addresses the affordable housing crisis in Shreveport. If you ask people who do this work every day, if you talk to the folks in community development, if you talk to people who are developers, if you talk to the people in the state, if you talk to anybody that's touched this thing at any time, they will tell you that there is a paucity, that means a scarcity, that means a very few affordable housing developments in Shreveport. In fact, there is a need for 10,000 units of affordable housing. Now, affordable housing does not necessarily mean apartments. It can be any number of complex housing offerings. It could be townhouses. It could be apartments. It could be for rent. It could be for ownership. It can be Lulis. There are any number of products that are out there, but the fact of the matter is, in a jurisdiction where 47% of the parish is considered at or working one check away from the poverty line, you've got to create avenues for people to spend less than 30% of their total income on housing. When you pay more than 30% of your total gross income in housing, you are housing limited. It's a problem. We've got to create better products. And when we don't create better products, what you have is these units that are there that should have been rehabilitated, should have been torn down, or something done with them. They remain open because there's nothing else. And so now we are wringing our hands because we're talking about putting 200 families on the street at the end of the month, which is in a couple of weeks. But we don't have places to put the folks. You can say that you want to put people in some hotels, and that's fine, but that's temporary shelter. You know, that's not going to move the needle in terms of letting people have some stability, right? And it never ceases to amaze me how some people in our community forget where they come from. You know, you rented at one point in your life, but now everybody that's a renter is a bum. Right. You know,
we don't want that.
We don't want that.
You make it. You stigmatize it. John Atkins, and I'm going to put his business in the street. John Atkins is one of the wealthiest folks in town. I don't think that's a secret.
No.
Right? And John probably wouldn't care that I put his business out.
He don't care because his grandparents were on the original
Chamber
of Commerce articles of incorporation.
City charter. They own the jitney.
His folks own the color blue in Shreveport.
Yeah,
they got general. Yeah,
no, and I'm serious. They own the jitney.
Oh, I know.
They own the first bus.
Right. Transportation system in Shreveport.
They owned it.
Yes.
So generational wealth.
Yes.
Atkins Elementary
Yes.
is named after
Correct.
those folks.
Correct.
He's kin to the Crawford.
Those of you that know the Cedar Grove Jitney, that
Right.
would be him.
Right.
And his folks.
Adco. Right.
We can go on and on.
Right. Atlas.
Atlas Refinery?
That's them.
Yes.
So, isn't that what it was right up the street?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Atkins, Atlas, at
So,
the bank, cashing checks.
John
Yes.
made a statement that said he rented until he was 47.
Right.
He made that statement public. It's in the record.
Yep.
So I'm not putting this. He made the public statement. I rented till I was 47, and I got ready to buy a home. I was responsible enough to buy a home. what we have right now, Calvin, is we have a lot of loudmouth,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna-
Ill-informed.
ill-informed, money hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Some folks are just money hungry, looking to flip a property. And you're somebody called me today. I don't know if you got the call, but I got the call asking why do they want to put these homes over here? And I said, and her question was, why aren't they doing what happened to the 15-year lease to own, rent to own? I said, ma'am, that is in place.
Right.
I said, but individuals still have to go through
Right.
a traditional credit process.
Right. You can buy them,
You can buy it.
but you have to have a credit.
You got to have a credit.
You got to have a down payment.
You got to have the income to debt to income ratio
Right.
right.
and you have to have the money to deal with the maintenance of a house that you never had to deal with.
Wait, Cal, wait. When I told this person, I said they tried to get 2 people qualified. I'm not gonna out anybody. I'm not gonna name drop. I said they tried to get 2 people. I said one person, the credit was an issue.
Right.
The second person, the credit was good, was ready to go. They didn't want to pay for the inspection.
Right.
Well, why should they pay for an inspection? I said, wait a minute. I said, don't you own your house? Yes. I said, I own mine. I said, didn't you pay
Yep.
for your inspection?
Yeah.
I said, so it's time to take the handcuffs off.
Right.
When
mean-
you step out into that arena, the handcuffs come off.
Right.
Nobody is coming to fix the roof,
Hot water heater.
hot water,
The
heater,
plumbing.
all that is on you.
Yeah. And you have to be prepared for that. And there's nothing wrong with renting.
Nothing wrong.
Because guess what? We don't talk any smack about the people that's renting those big old houses up and down Kleinfant Parkway.
Right.
Ain't nobody saying nothing about that.
Fern Avenue.
Fern Avenue. Ain't
Drury
nobody say
Drive.
no. Ain't no
Millicent Way.
ain't no conversation about that whatsoever. None.
It ain't number. It ain't no- there. I don't know. There's a homeowner around the movie theater in LSU. Well, cobblestone and all that stuff. But I'm talking about that little area right
Yeah,
there.
all those apartments.
All those apartments. Brandywine, Brookwood,
and listen,
whatever that is.
and even when you go through those neighborhoods, if you're real careful around this time of the year, you'll see those signs from the real estate company that says for rent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the biggest Century 21
Right.
rentals. What's the other? Coldwell Banker
Right.
rentals.
Right.
That people rent. I mean, we should not stigmatize people because they are choosing not to have a mortgage. But guess what? You got to get up every day and go to work.
Right.
You got to make sure your kids get fed. You're doing what you need to do.
By stigmatizing the people, you end up stigmatizing the product.
Right.
And that's what becomes. And so today I'm told, somebody called me, I'm told that there's an effort to block an affordable housing development coming into a certain part of town. I'm not going to call no names. I think all of it will be disclosed soon. But this is an area that is fighting for population.
Mm-hmm.
This is an area where the population is aging,
Right.
not getting younger.
Right.
And so, but you're fighting things that can repopulate your neighborhood. Not saying you can't. And so the person asked me, said, "Well, what about starter homes?" I said, "You got to go find a developer
Correct.
who's willing to invest in
Right.
starter homes. You can't make a developer do something that goes against their business model. McDonald's sells hamburgers.
And let's talk about the starter home. Let's talk about the starter home. Here's what a lot of people don't.
I'm sorry we're going over.
That's okay, and we'll cut to the chase because we're gonna talk about it some more.
But this is we need to talk.
We
about
need to talk about it. The starter homes in Shreveport were all generally part of a governmental program, 235. How do I know? Because selling those houses is what put me through school. Because my folks in real estate, everybody knows Lester and Lester, my uncle, my dad, and the whole 9 yards. Those were governmental programs that gave people an opportunity to own their first home. A lot of people have their homes through the VA, which is a what?
Governmental
Governmental
program.
program. You know,
A lot of people got it through FHA.
which is a what?
Governmental
Governmental
program.
program. So you're against that governmental program, but you're not for
Wait.
that one.
Have you been to the FHA headquarters?
No.
Do you know where is that?
Mm-mm.
Do you know? Okay. the Department of Housing and Urban Development
Right.
is on one corner.
Mm-hmm.
When you cross the street,
Yeah.
you're at the FHA.
Yeah. Because it was set up by HUD,
Yeah,
wasn't
a
it?
lot of people don't know
Yeah.
that the FHA is an entity and creature of HUD,
FHA stands for Federal,
Federal
Home Development.
Federal Housing
Authority.
Administration.
Yeah.
Federal
Yeah.
Housing Administration.
Federal Housing Administration.
And so they're literally, I mean, like you can throw a
Right.
sheet of paper.
Mm-hmm.
You can throw a sheet of paper from HUD to the FHA. It's literally, and there's a beautiful hotel attached to the FHA headquarters. But I mean, people play this game like, oh, why is FHA a government assistance program? Because what FHA does is, one, they come in and they insure the home,
Right.
and they help cover, what is it, 20%?
Mm-hmm.
They help offset the 20% down payment.
Mm-hmm.
You're not finna walk in 20% of 20% of a $200,000 house is what?
140. I mean, no, like 20 of 200,000, $40,000.
You don't have $40,000. I don't
Right.
have $40,000
Right.
to walk in and put
Right.
down payment.
Right.
So FHA covers.
Yeah.
Yeah. We ain't gonna talk about the interest rate.
Dude,
All of that.
again, yeah,
It's a big world out here.
dude, even before that, the GI Bill
Right.
that was part of the contract you made with the general, with the military folk coming home from war, and the FHA was discriminatory because some people got FHA loans and the black veterans didn't. So you created wealth in a lot of situations that you didn't. The bottom line is, we have people who need different levels of assistance.
Right.
There but by the grace of God go I. We need to have that mentality and stop stigmatizing our own people, more often than not our young people who are needing some assistance to get their feet on the ground and get themselves together. And if they choose to be a renter, they working every day. Let them live. Because you are in a situation, and I'm going to shut up when I say this, you, many times when I hear these meetings, you today are the you people 20 years ago.
Right.
Because 20 years ago, you were the first one to move into your area
Right.
that they didn't want black people in. And when y'all started coming, they left.
They left.
Y'all were the you people. Now you going to
Almost
come
a
down here.
Stonewall now.
Yeah, but
Or
you
in
don't come
Stonewall.
down here talking about these people. Like, bro, you was these people 20 years ago. But anyway,
Well,
listen,
let me,
go ahead.
I just want to make sure that
Go ahead.
we understand.
Put a
that,
bow on it.
Well, just renters have dignity.
Yes.
A lot of folks choose to rent. We're not saying that you have to rent forever.
Right.
We're nobody's saying that you have to rent forever. What we're saying is we need to make sure that we're holding, when it comes to the apartment complexes, we need to hold the owners accountable, the management accountable, because that's why you see the blight, the slum conditions. We have let this thing go so far.
Yep.
The owners have gone ghost.
Yep.
That's been the issue. And so why are they not paying the water bill? They can't pay it with a credit card because you can trace the credit card back to an IP address,
Right.
and they can go serve them.
Right.
They can't come in and pay it with a check because you can serve them in person.
All right.
They can't pay it with cash because they got to pay cash in person. And
That's
so
right.
whoever comes pay it in person,
Serve
serve
'em.
you. And so that's what you see happening.
They
with
ducking and
these
dodging.
They ducking and dodging.
And they saying they lying, saying that they got more squatters in the apartments now, so that's the reason why they haven't
Bruh.
been paying the.
I mean,
paying the.
They
Man,
got
you own
squat-
the property.
Listen,
the city can go seize that property
bruh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and be done with it.
Man, we're not even gonna start talking about the reason why the people from New York and places like that hold on to them, because it's called a tax shelter.
Right.
Because they want to carry that $200-some thousand
As a
water
loss.
bill as a loss against those multi-million-dollar apartments they got in New York City. But we ain't prepared to take that, and we don't want to talk about that. So
We
listen,
have to.
Enjoy your holiday break.
that's right.
It's Friday, Junior.
Yes.
It is the weekend.
Yes.
Enjoy your holiday,
Yes.
Memorial Day.
Yes.
The way you feel free to do.
Yes.
Take some time to relax.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself. Call somebody who you hadn't heard from in a while. Just
That's
check
right.
in on them. So we want to thank Johnny again. Thank you, Calvin, for
Yes.
holding it down for me. And we'll see y'all on the other side of the break.
That's right.
The holiday break.
Y'all be blessed. Have a great one. Take care.
WKSH FM 97.7. Dahi, R&B and Southern Soul.
This has got to be the saddest day of my life. I called you here today for a bit of bad news. I won't be able to see you anymore because of my obligations.